Hey everybody, welcome to the Friday edition of Box Seats. My name is Frank Holder. I'm here with Talent. I'm Fig. You guys know me in the comedy business for a very long time. These guys have been in the comedy business since before Def Comedy Jam, but they hit a stride on Def Comedy Jam. They've been in films, television, festivals, everything else. They've been in everything related to comedy, and now they're even in something that's called sports, because we do this talk show right now called The Box Seats. So, fellas, I always start the show out with what? A COVID report, right? That's lately in the last, I don't know, in like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, is always starting out with the COVID report. So let me just get the COVID report started real fast. And just say the COVID report now is the LA Raiders got fined for their COVID violations $500,000, and they got a draft pick taken away. The Steelers got fined $250,000. And get this, there was a 49ers player, unidentified so far, who got tested positive for the coronavirus this morning. Now, we all know Tuesday they had a coronavirus test. Wednesday they had a coronavirus test. They still played the game Thursday. This morning they have another player with the coronavirus test. Now, my question to you, Talent, is if you are the Green Bay Packers and you hear about this news, you got to be pretty upset about hearing something like this. I'm just assuming.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
because you played
definitely. Yeah, I mean, definitely you're feeling some sort of way about this, bro. Like, this is the COVID report for real, for real. You know what I mean? Now where I always say messing with people check, now you're starting to mess with the checks. That changes everything. You know what I mean? Skipping a game, pushing it back, people still getting their checks. But now you're talking about fines, checks, money. Now you might look out for some repercussions now, Frank.
I'm with you on that one. Fig, what's your thought process when you hear that? Especially I know how you are with this virus and stuff. Can you imagine being on the opposite team, you playing on the Green Bay Packers, and now you find out that what you mean y'all had coronavirus tests this week, and then y'all still played the game, and now you wake up this morning, somebody else got the virus in the same team? What's your thought process?
Man, it's man, that's dangerous, man. You know, I mean, like we always talk about, man, it's like, these guys are gladiators. You know what I mean? So we would imagine that these are the most healthiest people in our society, professional athletes. They work out, you know what I mean? You figure they're eating right, they're pretty healthy. But guess what? Every last one of them got to go home to somebody else. You don't know what's at other people's house when they get there,
right?
And you playing this game, and you could be infected with a virus that kills people. You could be transferring the virus during the game. Now, when the game is over, these people go to their respective homes, and you never know what can happen. That's what they get. They got that whole trace thing that's going on. So how did you get it and stuff like that? Man, that's dangerous, man. I don't like when do we put human life in front of money? That's all I'm saying. At what point are we going to start doing that? Because it really is. That's really what it boils down to, man. That's scary, man. That is scary. Well, it's irresponsible, man. It's. I don't even think there's words to fit that, man. It's just crazy.
I even raise you one thing. When are we going to put human lives to all be equal? Because right now it's you know what I'm saying. It's like y'all are not important enough, but y'all are over here are important enough that we can sit here and say, okay, now it's serious because the most important people got it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's the issue. Yeah, I think that's the issue. But I want to get past the COVID thing and talk about the other big news that happened this morning. It seems like scandal was the operation word this morning. The Boston Red Sox hired Alex Cora. And we all know he came from the cheating scandal from the Houston Astros team. And here's the thing. He got fired in January 2020. He missed the whole season this past year, and then he gets hired again. And let's be honest, the dugouts love him. The team absolutely love him. People love him. The Boston fans love him. Everybody loves him. But I will say this to you, Talent. He was involved in the biggest cheating scandal ever in baseball, Major League Baseball history. Should he have been rehired, or should the Red Sox have looked for somebody else?
I'm about second chances, man, and sometimes third, depending on the scenario, because I don't think your life in the baseball world ends because you made some major mistakes and got caught up in some mess. I think like anything else, like when people do regular criminal activity, we put a sentence on them. They do their time, they pay their debt, and they're supposed to rehabilitate and be able to come back in society and work again and try to make a living again, try to feed their family again. So I think, yeah, I would vote for people to get the second chance. I think they should have, even if it wasn't them, it was going to be somebody else. Because I think, you paid your price. You did your thing.
Yeah. Now, Fig, I'll throw the same question out there to you. And I'll even say this to you. I think Mookie Betts would have probably re-signed with the Red Sox if he had even known that Alex Cora was coming back. You know what I mean? But who knows?
I know that's important to you, Frank, because you love that Mookie
Betts. No.
Well, anyway, look.
I'm done with the Red Sox, bro. I'm done.
The thing is, man, is it really all depends on who you are and who's in your corner, whether you get that second chance, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Think about the no shade, but think about the scandals. How many times it happened with the New England Patriots and nobody got fired? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Nobody got fired. Oh, they didn't fire Bill Belichick. They didn't get rid of Tom Brady. Not for that. Look what baseball did to Pete Rose. Does Pete Rose ever get a second chance? Like, is he going to be in the Hall of Fame and stuff like that? I mean, it really depends on who you are and who's in your corner, and how egregious they think that your crime or your infraction is, whether they decide to give you a second chance or not. My thing is that when you fire somebody, what you're doing is taking away their livelihood and what it is that they do. So basically what you're saying is it's almost like I'm banishing you and I'm sending you off to die. Which is kind of crazy.
Let's be honest. The Patriots, the management, upper management, they did a taping scandal. The taping scandal that happened happened right after the NFL had said that there's no more taping allowed. Before it was allowed. But the Houston Astros, that whole bench team was caught red-handed cheating all the way through the World Series for numerous games. Not just the Red Sox the Patriots got caught cheating on one New York Jets game. That's a game. But the Houston Astros, I mean, the magnitude of this is a little bit different. The Houston Astros was caught cheating all the way through the World Series. They was caught cheating all through the American League Championship Series. They even got, matter of fact, if I can remember correctly, I think their shortstop hit a home run when they were hitting the signals and everything else. There was a game clinching. Yeah, and they won one of those games. I think it helped them win the World Series or made them go up 3-2. Like, dude, the level of cheating is like it's not even close.
It's not even comparable. It's not comparable.
Right, it's not comparable. You can't
even say is that they got caught cheating against the Jets. Like, why? Why?
Back then the Jets was a formidable team. But that's besides the point. The point right now is you cheating in the World Series. Now, listen, I love Alex Cora. I love the Red. I'm glad they rehired him. But matter of fact, he was a bench coach. He wasn't even a coach. The guy who should have been held accountable was held accountable, and he got rehired. But dude, don't you think? I mean, I'm gonna ask this question one more time. And that's like you only get 1 year off, dude. Like, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like,
wait a minute, Frank talking to me like I'm on the witness stand. I'm gonna ask you this one more time.
Yes.
you didn't know that wasn't your money.
No, I mean, come on, Tal. Let's be honest, man. The season he got kicked off was a COVID season. It wasn't even a whole full season. He got kicked off. Yeah. You got all the points, all the nails on the head, and everything. You're not wrong at all. I mean, if I have one thing to say against him, again, I love him. I want everybody to have a second chance. If it was me, maybe it'd have been a couple of years longer. You know what I mean? Definitely that, because this can't compare to any other when you catch people cheating here and there is one thing. When you cheat through a World Series, you put a blemish on the whole institution as a whole. You make everyone second guess. It's like right now, I hate to say it, like 4-5, President 4-5, with all this doubt he's inflicting in people's brain, like, wait, are they cheating? Is the election rigged? Blah, blah, blah. You got people out there that's really trust me, I was on a plane listening to some Southerners.
So you got this. This is the same thing. Once people realize the people cheated through the whole World Series, the fans of the game are appalled, and they might be questioning the validity of the game. You don't want a fan questioning the validity of the game. That's how you lose fans.
Fig, 2 seasons? 2 seasons?
Yeah, man, that's it. It seems like the punishment didn't fit the crime.
Yeah, because they got
like the punishment was saying that was basically a slap on the hand. You know what? To tell you the truth, the way it looks is like he really didn't get fired. He just got suspended.
Yeah, I would say
You know
that.
what I mean? He just got suspended. Like you went away for a little while and you just came right back. So you got suspended for a season and now you back.
And it was a COVID season at that.
Huh?
And it was a COVID season at that because
which means it was a shortened season.
Right.
You know, what did they play? Like 60 games? What was it? It was
no,
like
I think they played 80 games. I'm gonna have to get stacked on that. I forgot how
like 60, 80. I mean, it wasn't that much at all. It was kind of crazy. I'm like, yo, that doesn't make any sense.
It definitely
I don't get it, man.
It definitely wasn't the whole full season like they normally play. I want to talk about the NFL shortly because I want to go into that once we bring in Stack. We're going to talk about the NFL. But right now, I got to talk about the NBA and mention a couple of things because, as you guys know, I was talking about some NBA issues with y'all off the air, and even some more stuff has happened since I was texting y'all last night. But let's just set up the table, okay? Trade talks are now in full swing. The NBA is now officially, because the NBA now has officially said that they're going to restart December 22nd. The NBA, this would have been the shortest offseason ever in NBA history with just 71 days. So now, next week, beginning of next week, the NBA free agency is going wild. So we've been talking about stuff that we've been hearing. I've been mentioning it to you, and a lot of that stuff is coming very true. The biggest thing that's jumped off last night is that the Celtics are in they're in a selling mode. Big thing is the Celtics are trying to get rid of, I shouldn't even say get rid of. The Celtics are trading Marcus Smart and Robert Williams. They're trying to get Rudy Gobert, and the Celtics are trying to also sign Gordon Hayward and sign a trade option. Except they're not sure where Gordon Hayward's going to go just yet. So, Talon, I'm going to throw it out there to you. What's your thought process after you hear this? Because we've been talking about this exact trade for a couple of days. Now it looks like it's coming to fruition. But what is your thought process with the Celtics losing Marcus Smart? How do you think that looks for them?
I think that you're losing some of the heart and soul of the team. I think that everybody knows that, and that's saying something about the organization. To me, that they're sending a subliminal message of they're going to be moving in a different direction mentally. They're not going to be the scrapping team we know, because that's your scrapper. That's your heart and soul of the team. Like, the team goes as far as Marcus Smart goes. So his attitude drives them half the time. We've watched them, especially in these past playoff rounds, where the back is against the wall and he just starts scratching and clawing. In the words of Figment Freud, dogs. They need to become dogs. And that's where it starts. It begins with Marcus Smart. So now you take the dog out, the bark and the growl out. You got Yorkies. Your team is now Yorkies. If you get rid of Marcus Smart, your team immediately goes from Bulldog, Rottweiler-ish to Yorkie, Pomeranian. I give you Pomeranian. Cost more.
I figured that.
Yo, he's the analogy king, man. Yo,
really is.
Yo, man, I feel the same way, man. It's like, you know what this reminds me of, man, is when the Celtics, man, they got rid of Kendrick Perkins.
Yep, exactly. That's a good analogy, son.
Yo, Kendrick Perkins, to me, even though he wasn't like he wasn't like a high scorer or something like that, but he was like that enforcer. He was scrappy. He would block shots, rebound. Like he was like the glue. So
right.
Sometimes your glue guy is not your best skilled guy on your team. Sometimes your glue guy is just scrappy. You know what I mean? Marcus Smart, if there's a loose ball, this kid is on the ground. He's taking charges. He's trying to block shots. He's running 100 miles an hour. Marcus Smart reminds me of a type of Russell Westbrook. He's going 100 miles an hour all game long. From the time he hits the court until the time he's subbed out, Marcus Smart is going 100 miles an hour, except he doesn't have Russell Westbrook skill, athleticism.
Right.
But he's that dude, man. If there's a ball, he's on the ground. He is he's wrestling for loose balls. Like anything that goes on that you need a guy to do that you don't want your star to take a chance to do for because they might get injured. Marcus Smart is that dude. And he plays hurt.
Okay, let me
how
say
many
this.
times you see Marcus Smart play when you see he's clearly
Yeah,
been compromised physically.
He's playing hurt. But let me say this. It reminds me of when the Celtics had Tony Allen. Same type of player. Tony Allen, same type of scrap player, same type of defense. He wasn't the best scorer at the time, same type of thing. But here's another thing the Celtics are doing. I just mentioned it for a hot second, is they're trying to do a sign and trade thing. Now, if they're able to sign and trade, there are 3 teams that have already called for Gordon Hayward. It's the Atlanta Hawks, the Dallas Mavericks, and the New York Knicks. Now, I'm not sure how well that's going to be for Gordon Hayward and the Celtics, because it depends on what the Celtics want under those teams. Right now, the Celtics don't want anything that they're willing to give up. But let's just say Gordon Hayward lands on one of those 3 teams. Which team do you think, Talent, is the best fit for Gordon Hayward if you're Gordon Hayward? Is it Atlanta, Dallas, or the Knicks? I'm going to throw it out there and say Gordon Hayward on Dallas would be amazing for the Dallas Mavericks. That's my team. If I'm him. What's your thought, Talent?
I agree with you. I remember I said before, like they are building the new Millennium Hoosiers in Dallas. That team getting whited by the grits. That team is getting whited by the bowl of grits, and ain't no knock on them because these are good white players. One thing about black people is we love good white players.
Yeah.
Am I right or wrong? So that team is getting closer to a nice, talented, fundamentally sound team. I agree with you, Frank. Dallas Mavericks, place to be. New York, take that off the list. New York will shatter that young man's dreams. His hair will start falling out. New York's a very stressful place. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Perfect for people from the hood, not the suburbs.
Hey, let me tell you something. Gordon Hayward, if he can't handle the stress that's in Boston, he will implode in New York. And like Talent said, man, I think he fits perfectly for Dallas. I actually have a team photo of the new Dallas Mavericks right here.
Yeah, ass.
That was a good one.
But for real, who's over there now? You got Dirk, right? I mean, not Dirk. You got Porzingis.
Yeah.
Doncic.
You got Doncic. You got, let's say you got to get a Hayward over there, and then there's 2 other cats. Like I think it's one black guy is going to be starting.
It's I think that's Tim. That's young Tim Hardaway.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, but that's going to be completely different. Now let's move on to something else that I've been hearing, because we're talking about a lot of movement and everything else. Bradley Beal, it looks like his name is being thrown out there too. I don't think Bradley Beal is going to be on the Washington team when the season starts. Right now he's being shopped heavily, but Bradley Beal has interest from the Atlanta Hawks. Talent, do you see Bradley Beal going to Atlanta Hawks as a good move for Bradley?
No, I see him. He's one of those guys in basketball purgatory right now. Mm-hmm. Guys in basketball purgatory are looking to make not just lateral movements or back steps. They're looking to get closer and closer to competitive championship teams. I think Atlanta for him, he done played these years in Washington alongside John Wall. He showed you who he is, what he can do. He's bona fide, good, solid, consistent player. I don't see him going lateral or even a step back, really, to a Hawks or something like that. I don't see it.
Well, a year before, was it last year? Not this past season, but the season before, Atlanta was a playoff team. They was, if I can remember.
That was before. Everything pre-COVID, we got to let that go.
Okay. All right. I've let that go. Fig, what's your thought?
You got stats before the coughs and sneezes.
Yo, Fig, man, I don't know. don't see it, man. I don't like the structure in Atlanta, man. I just don't. I don't like the Hawk structure. I don't think they. I mean, they just. It's almost like they play schoolyard ball over there, man. I don't see any. Like, I don't know what their identity is. You know what I mean? They got that young kid over there, man. Well, I call him Steph Curry Light. That's what I call him.
Steph Curry Light.
The shooter over there, man. I can't even think of his name off the top of my head. I'm sorry, man. Having a brain freeze. But I don't see him making a splash over there. I mean, I like him though. You know what I mean? I like Bradley, man. I think he's he's definitely an all-star type player, man. I'd like to see Bradley go somewhere else, man, where he possibly has an opportunity to win, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I don't know. It just don't make a splash for me. It don't do nothing for me. Not in Atlanta. It don't do nothing for me at all.
Let me also throw this name out there too, who's being heavily shopped, because right now, you know, I want to get into the NFL real quick. Before we do that, the last name I want to throw out there is PJ Tucker. Let me just say this caveat first. Stephen Silas was formally introduced in Houston this morning or last night. PJ Tucker, who's part of his team, you know, they formed a team. He's being shopped also with Houston. Houston is listening to trades. This is the funny thing about it. Stephen Silas said, I like the team the way it is. I think I can make the team get a great NBA playoff run to the finals and everything else. Meanwhile, upper management is shopping Russell Westbrook, James Harden, and PJ Tucker, because all three of them are in their last 3 years of their contract. PJ Tucker is in the last year of his contract, and I don't think he's going to see this year in a Houston Rocket uniform. I just don't see it. He's being shopped. Makes sense for you if you're talented.
Hold on a second. Who said they could make it work with the team?
Stephen Silas, the new coach.
Your new head coach.
He might be grand opening, grand closing himself.
Right.
If you're saying this and upper management saying that, they might have plans for your ass.
he just got hired too. He literally just got hired. Yeah. He's gonna have his whole thing together.
I would hate to see that grand opening, grand closing. That as soon as you come in, you guys are not on the same page. I would hate to see that, especially with Silas. But what I do know, a lot of trickery goes on. People do say or act like they're shopping pieces. It's like playing chess to see what other people are willing to do and give up as well. And then they say, no, we good, because they want to see the moves people are willing to make and who's expendable and who's not, team to team. So maybe this is one of those situations, because if he thinks he can rock with what he got, upper management saying, no, we about to clean the house a little bit and move some pieces. That sounds like two people doing this right away.
It's definitely, they're definitely not on the same page. I would definitely agree with you to that. Like, how are you going to have to? He literally sat there on his press conference saying, "I like what I have. I think I can make a run."
Yeah.
That I was like, does he not know that management is shopping those three dudes? I mean, it's just. As a matter of fact, listen to the Sixers in heated conversations with them for either Russell Westbrook or James Harden, and for Joel Embiid or Ben Simmons. That's what's happening right now as we speak. Fig, what's your thought process?
Man, you know, it wouldn't surprise me that Houston would do something like that to a Stephen Silas. We're talking about a black coach who's not very many, you know, it's not a lot of them in comparison in the NBA or how many black coaches actually get an opportunity. But then you take a guy, you give him you hire him after he's been an assistant coach for over 20 years under some of the top coaches in the league. He finally gets his shot, and then you gut the team. Like, really? Like, come on, man. Like when you know, is that really giving him a shot at a head coach? If you're gonna take away all the stars off the team, that's kind of crazy, man. I was listening to an interview with him this morning. He was like, look, he said, if I got a big man, he said, I would like to get a big man so that we wouldn't be pigeonholed to play just one way. He says nothing wrong with small ball. He said, but you know, when it comes to the playoffs and the finals and stuff like that, he said, if you're going to play one way, then it's easy for teams to plan for you. He said, but if you have several different ways to go or several different ways that you can play, then it makes it harder for a team to beat you in a 5 or 7 game series. He got a nice little head on him as far as
right.
you
No,
know,
I
as far
got
as
that.
coaching and stuff like that. And I like him. You know what I mean? I would hate to see them gut the team. Now, if they trade to James Harden and they're going to get back, you know, a Ben Simmons or something like that, or they're going to get back somebody, you know, serviceable, and they're going to change it up, I could see that. I could see that working to both teams' favor. PJ Tucker is almost like Marcus Smart in Boston. That was the dude that they had to play center in a small ball in Houston. PJ Tucker is a scrapper, man. He's not tall, but he's strong. And he knocks down that corner 3-pointer on, you know, pretty regularly, man. Like that, he's a really good player. So to get rid of Tucker, it's like you almost like you like getting rid of your scrapper, your heart of your team, man.
Right,
I don't know where they're going. I can't see it. You know what I mean? But hopefully it works out for both of the teams. Or especially, I'm saying for Houston, because they got Steven Silas over there. Okay. And I'd like to see him get a real shot.
All right, we got to keep this moving on. Let's talk about in the NFL. In the NFL last night, we had a game last night, and I mentioned it just briefly at the top of the show. We talk about Green Bay, we talk about San Francisco. I'm gonna throw it out there to you, Talent. First question I got is: Do you see San Francisco being able to come and salvage the rest of the season, which I think is a total wash now? And do you see Aaron Rodgers on the flip side finishing his career in Green Bay with how things are looking great now?
Frank, I'm not moving away from your Pelican brief from before. I still believe. I think the Dak injury was a reinforcement to your Pelican brief theory of him finishing strong and going to America's team. I'm not ready to cancel that. You know, we're in the cancel culture. I'm not ready to cancel that culture yet. I see some validity there. So I think that they would have to jump out the window with the sweetest 2 to 3 year deal for him to stay in Green Bay. Because I don't think it's going to happen. Yeah, so I think he's out of there. I think there's a lot of validity to your Pelican brief of the Dallas situation. And I think the Dak injury kind of sped or advanced that up even quicker.
Yeah, I could see that. I could definitely see that. Listen, Fig, Aaron Rodgers got 2 years on his contract. He's playing really great right now. He knows he's playing really good right now. Everybody sees him that he's even in the MVP conversation. There's no doubt about that. But again, he's in a 2-year contract. He's not happy with the talks that's happening so far about his contract. It's already been expressed by upper management that they don't see that they'll be able to give him the money he wants 2 years from now because he's going to be older. So the question to you is, do you see him finishing out his career in Green Bay? And do you see, 2-point question, do you see San Francisco salvaging the rest of the season?
I don't see, look, to be honest with you, when Green Bay selected a quarterback in the first round, to me, the writing was already on the wall. No matter what Aaron Rodgers did, they already made up their mind that they were going to move on from him, which is crazy to me because even though Aaron Rodgers is no spring chicken, we see with the rule changes in the NFL, quarterbacks are playing longer. I mean, you know, perfect example is a Tom Brady. If you put the pieces around him, then you have a good quarterback, a serviceable quarterback. You could win a championship. Look at what they did with Peyton Manning. They put a team around Peyton Manning and his neck was broke, and he was still able to be serviceable enough to get a team to win a Super Bowl. Now you fast forward to an Aaron Rodgers. My God, Aaron Rodgers still, I would say arguably, he still has a good 5. Easy, a good easy 5, barring injury, of course, because it still is the NFL. Barring injury, I say Aaron Rodgers could play at the top of the game for easy 5 years, especially if you put pieces around him. I'll go as far as to say this: if you just switch Aaron Rodgers with Tom Brady, I say Aaron Rodgers is doing as well as Tom Brady or better in that system. You know, I don't understand the mentality of these teams that want to move on from these star players so soon and stuff like that, especially a quarterback like like Aaron Rodgers, but Green Bay has always been a little funky with their moves. It's always been a little. They
But
always
Fig,
seem to move a little different.
you don't think it's an exception to the rule if he does win the Super Bowl this year?
I don't know, man. I mean, look, sometimes put it to you this way: when they make up their mind, when management make up their mind to let you go, they just drop you, man. And and for like and the stuff, the moves that they make don't make sense to the fans because the fans' heart goes with the team. I tell you 2 instances when
I know about that one with the Tom Brady situation because
Tom Brady. Yeah. When they moved on from Phil Jackson, when Chicago moved on from Phil Jackson, when Golden State moved off Mark Jackson, you know what I mean? It just like when management makes up their mind, even though it doesn't make sense, you know what I mean? And then here's the thing: sometimes it works in Golden State, it sort of worked out, but in all other instances, it didn't work out. Clearly, it's not working out in New England. They got rid of Tom Brady. And it definitely didn't work out in Chicago when they got rid of Phil Jackson because Michael Jordan went with him, and they haven't won anything since.
All right, we're getting past the time. Stack, we got to get ready to throw something in. Stack,
what's up, fellas?
Stack, what's going on, bro? How we do today?
Y'all did good. The baseball season was 60 games.
Thank you.
Other than that, y'all had it. Y'all was on point today.
Okay, so let's throw it out there. Stack came in the conversation talking about the NFL. We're talking about obviously Aaron Rodgers and the game last night. I want to ask the next question. And here's another thing that's been going on. Everybody's talking about the number 1 pick, and then there's a lot of people who are talking about the Miami Dolphins. And Tal, I'm gonna start with you, especially since you're chilling down there in Tampa. I want to hear what you might hear other people saying. Do you think the Miami Dolphins are auditioning Tua to trade him away because Miami could mess around? They got a lot of picks coming up in the next draft. They might try to combine some of those picks to get the number 1 pick or the number 2 pick. Do you think Miami is auditioning to it? And is that what people down in Florida are talking about right
now? No. In Florida, people are really believing that Miami is got enough room to turn it around. It might be the momentum from the way they played last week. They did look like if you wasn't in the 8th week of the season and seen that game, if that was the beginning, you'd be like, whoa, Miami's about something this year. But of course, when it's your home team and it's the team of this state, they believe that we are in week 1 and 2. Me, ain't my state. I'm like, dude, you waited 8 weeks to throw a touchdown? You gotta do that every week. So the vibe down here, the home bodies, as I would call them, they believe that they can turn the thing around and they're not playing into that sweepstakes. I believe they're going to ball, but I just don't think they're going to be able to stack the wins.
So you don't think they're going to be able to put together something to be able to climb up higher in the okay.
No.
All right. Stack, since we brought you just into the show, what's your thought process on Tua?
So I think they're just starting with Tua. So I mean, I think regardless of what happens this season, they're gonna give him another year at least. And then we do got the expanded playoffs is a possibility. So they might even sneak in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that. Fig, what's your thought?
I think in the conference that they in, they definitely not out of it. You know what I mean? The Patriots ain't doing all that great.
Jets ain't doing nothing.
The Jets ain't doing nothing. So
all you gotta worry about is Buffalo. You're right.
That's the only. I mean, that is Buffalo is leading that conference. So I mean, can they get in there? I don't think they're gonna catch Buffalo though. But maybe they can squeak in as a wild card if they do halfway decent. I mean, within that conference, they got enough teams that they can play against to win a few. Possibly if they continue to do well. If Tua rises to the level where people thought that he could, I can see them taking an easy second and possibly making it into a wild card, because we know the NFC East, they ain't gonna win more than 4 or 5 games over there between all of them. You know what I mean? So they ain't got Dallas ain't got nobody. Washington team, the Giants, ain't nobody winning over there, so they might have a chance to squeak in as a wild card.
Right. Let me ask you all this. Let me start with you, Chan. Let me ask you this too. Pittsburgh right now, believe it or not, is the number 1 seed. and nobody's talking about them being the number 1 seed. So I'm gonna ask you this, Talent: is everybody overlooking Pittsburgh? Is Pittsburgh really that good, or are they going to eventually, bust, and we're gonna see what they really are for the team that they really are? Now, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this for the record. I think Pittsburgh squeaked out 3, maybe 4 games that they should have lost, but that's my opinion. What's your opinion?
You're absolutely right. I think that what I said in the beginning of the season, I told you guys once, I told you 10 times. Pittsburgh is a team that is mediocre. However, they always in the way. So the fact that they're able to stay in the way, they're always going to look better than they actually are. That's what they do. That's what they always do. They stay in the way in the AFC. Now that in about 2-3 weeks, you're going to start to see who they are. Give them 2-3 more weeks. I always say like week 10, 11, they start to get bumps and bruises, start to blend in with the matchup with the rest of the league as far as missing players, IR, all that stuff. You're going to see who Pittsburgh really is. They're a pressure bust pipes team. They stay in the way all the way till it gets crucial and then pressure bust pipes. I don't think they are who they look like they are. They could prove me wrong, but if this is the Pittsburgh I know, watch it play out.
You always got an analogy for me, bro, and it always makes sense. I can't even front. He said the Pittsburgh Steelers is the pressure pipe team. All right.
Yeah.
No, I think the opposite, Talent. I think the fact that they did squeak out those 3 or 4 games and won the games they were supposed to lose is exactly why they're going to be able to. Exactly why I think they're the real deal. I don't think they're fool's gold this year because they showed when they was under pressure in them 3 or 4 games, they squeaked out a win, and they beaten Baltimore. Baltimore is legit, and they get to play them again because they're in the same division. I have no reason to doubt Pittsburgh at this point. So,
all right, Fake, what's your thought?
I think Baltimore. Well, I think Pittsburgh. Look, they 7-0, so they would have to have a major fall off.
Yep.
Not to be able to make it in because they leading everybody. They got more wins than everybody. And here's the thing, they don't seem like they don't have all the bells and whistles. You know what I mean? The game is kind of ugly, but it's ugly on both sides of the ball. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. They got just enough on offense and they got just enough on defense. And when you combine those 2 things together, you always give yourself a fighting chance because you can win on either side of the ball. You know, man, I got to give it to Mike Tomlin, man, because even without Ben and the loss of 2 of arguably the greatest players at their position in the NFL, they were able to hold on and maintain. And Tomlin has never had a losing season with that team. So I mean, you got to give kudos to Mike Tomlin being able to hold that team together, and with barring injury, like Talent said, barring injury, I think they're going to be serviceable. You know what I mean? I'd like to see them in a couple of tough games. Yeah, but I think they'd be serviceable.
Yeah, isn't Mike Tomlin the most winningest black coach ever in NFL history? If I can remember correctly,
I believe so. Yep.
Yeah, I think he is. All right.
I mean, how hard is that? How hard is that stat?
Yeah.
Yo, it was tough.
The most winningest black coach.
Not even that many black coaches.
Well, we had 3 black coaches in a century.
Great point. Listen, I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying.
Who was the dude? He was the coach of when Peyton Manning was in. When Peyton Manning went.
Dungy.
Yeah, he literally just passed Dungy last week.
All right, let me throw this out there to you too, Talent. I'm gonna continue on, move the conversation along. Antonio Brown is debuting this week. Everybody's looking for him to do very, very well. According to Tampa Bay, and the report is that he came in the camp in immaculate shape. So, Talent, I guess the question now to me would be to you. Some people are thinking he's not going to be the same as what he was. I'm thinking, and I'm going to put it on the record, I think he might even be better than he's been because he hasn't had a really full season, and he's really anxious to show people that he could do what he said he could do. So, Talent, what's your thought process about Antonio Brown, his debut with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this week?
Well, I agree with you for different reasons. I'm gonna go back to something Fig said that made all the sense in the world, and we say this about the NBA players all the time. When you get a good player, a really, really good player, and you put him on a really, really good team where he don't have to do much.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You're on there with other weapons that you don't have to be that guy all the time. He's going to shine.
He ain't got the pressure not going to be on him.
The more superstars, you know, his analogy, the more superstars you surround LeBron with, the easier the game comes to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's AB right now.
Yeah. Yeah, because Tampa Bay got a lot of superstars around. I mean, that team is stacked.
Yeah, this dude could be on the side eating snacks.
Yeah.
And like every 7-8 plays, they go, all right, we need you on this one. and he go, okay, let me lace up. He wasn't even laced up.
Zach, what's your thought, brother?
He's gonna run amok. I mean, this is like when Randy Moss went on the Patriots with Tom Brady. I mean, and they got unfinished business anyway from last season. You know, Tom and AB, and the fact that the field, like, you can't double team. You know, Antonio Brown, you can't bump and run him. You can't do nothing. He can run routes. He can take you deep. And then they got Gronk on the inside. They got running backs that can catch it out the backfield. The blocking's crazy. I mean, it's
scary.
Yeah, this is real scary. Real scary.
Hey man, I'm gonna steal this from UPS. What can Brown do for you?
Yeah.
I like that one.
Antonio Brown is a monster, man. This kid, listen, nobody got rid of Antonio Brown because of his skill on the field.
No,
it was always other stuff that caused him to leave one team or the other. It was always extracurricular activity. Had nothing to do with his ability on the field. This dude is, he's a monster. He's when Antonio Brown is playing at his best, he's maybe top 5, top 3, maybe. You know what I mean? This dude is just, he's a baller.
He might be the best. He might be the best.
He's coming to a way less discriminatory team. Like, you got to realize his beef with Pittsburgh was that, you don't treat the players the same. Look how you treating Roethlisberger. Look how you treated us. It's not fair, right? Which we know from watching the votes come in right now. Pennsylvania, come on. They're not on in Pittsburgh of all places. So now you go to Tampa Bay where the racism is so laid back, man.
Hey, you know, there's something else too we haven't mentioned about Antonio Brown. He had an 8-week head start. He's relaxed. He's chill. He ain't got no bumps, no bruises. He ain't got nothing. He coming in there fresh out the gate, and he's like, okay, so who's gonna throw me the ball? Like,
but you know what though, Frank? On that note though, he doesn't have the bumps and the bruises, but then I know they say he's in great shape, but he ain't had like no training camp either.
Football shape.
And he may not be in what they consider to be football shape. But you know what? Then on the other hand, he might be a freak. He might be an athletic freak of nature, like a Dennis Rodman. Because I remember in The Last Dance, they talked about when Dennis Rodman had so much time off, then Phil Jackson made them do like wind sprints, and they made everybody have to pass Dennis Rodman. And it took them forever for everybody to catch him because Rodman was such a freak of nature. He stayed in shape.
But I did say that Tampa Bay had said that he is in irregular shape. Like, they were all amazed. And word of people being in shape or not in shape never really comes out like that. But for them to say that he's in such immaculate shape, can you imagine how much in shape he must actually be for them to even say they come into the news? I'm willing to think he is going to run circles around people. But
he's a workout monster, man.
Yeah, that's it.
Like
he's
Talon
a gym
said
rat.
earlier, he's like LeBron James when it comes to working out.
This is the last question I'm going to ask out there before Fig gets ready to do his top dog. So we got to get to that. Now, we are at 8 games in, right? And I want to ask you guys, as I'm going to start with you, Stat. Who can challenge right now? We 8 games in. Who do you think can be challenged for the MVP of the NFL season right now? Because 2 weeks ago was Tom Brady, but most of those weeks it was Russell Wilson. I'm thinking right now it's going to be hard to take the reward away from Russell Wilson. So I'm going to start with you. Who?
I'm going with Russell Wilson right now, honestly, and yes, I feel like it's by far. He had that one game where he threw 3 interceptions, but before that, he had only thrown 1 pick.
Yeah.
all season. I'm gonna still go with Russ.
Yeah, he's the man right now. I think he's shining. I think he's shining pretty bright. Talent.
Mhm.
Is Russell Wilson your MVP so far?
Hell no.
Okay, good. Who you got?
And I got not Russell Wilson. I got Russell Peters. I picked Russell Peters before I picked Russell Wilson. You crazy?
Russell Peters can't even run 2 yards.
Are you crazy? Like that commercial. You see that commercial with the fake scary movie? Why can't we just get in the running car? Are you crazy? Listen, I'm going with I never let my dude, even though he had a bunch of bumps, 2 weeks bumps in the head back to back, Aaron Rodgers will be your MVP of this season. Watch.
All right. Fig, who you think? Who you
Okay,
got?
man, let me just say this. Here's where greatness works against you. Do you know that Patrick Mahomes is so great and plays at such a high level that people are like, it's almost like when LeBron doesn't get the MVP certain years and people be like, yo, really, this dude, he was a monster. It's just like, the only reason that he might not get it is because people are just like, yo, you know, he's just better than everybody else. You know what I mean?
Patrick Mahomes is a problem of his issues of being great, but he hasn't matched what he did last year. So that's the issue. But anyway,
Russell Wilson is leading the NFL in touchdowns.
Yeah, that's true.
Russell Wilson leads the NFL in touchdowns.
I think they might win another Super Bowl.
Yeah, he does. He's leading. Like last year, Patrick Mahomes was leading the league in touchdowns thrown and yards. This year, it's Russell Wilson. That's just how it is. That's what it is. Craig, you ready to do the top dogs?
Yeah, man, let's get to it. I got him right here, man. Stacks, I wanted to put you in, but you know, you fell behind last week. So I wanted to have Stacks as one of my top dogs.
He's going shot, Stack.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're ready for the top dogs, let me hear your ball. Oh, God. Ladies and gentlemen, I got on my top dog list. I got to give it to my man from Cincinnati, the Bengals. I got to give it to Joe Burrow for last week, man, because, listen, he shocked the Titans, the Tennessee Titans. We remember the Titans, and he shocked them, throwing for 249 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a big win over the Titans, ladies and gentlemen.
With no O-line.
I got to show him some love. Joe Burrow, you know, did his thing last week.
With no O-line should be said.
With no O-line.
Yeah.
Hey, listen. These are my top dogs. You get your own.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, number 2 I got on my list. I got to give it to, we just talked about him, from the Pittsburgh Steelers, Big Ben Roethlisberger. You know, I referred to him at the beginning of the year as Fat Burger. You know what I mean? I didn't think he was going to do much, but he pulled one out, man, and beat the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson. He eked them out, ladies and gentlemen. He threw 21 for 32, 182 yards, 2 touchdowns, and led the Pittsburgh Steelers to a perfect. Did I say that word? I said perfect 7-0 season. Got to show a little love to my man, Fat Roethlisberger. Fat Burger is what I call him. Ladies and gentlemen, going to the Minnesota Vikings where it's cold. You know them, they do their thing. I got to give it to my man, Dalvin Cook. He showed out. He showed off. He did 226 yards from scrimmage, 4 touchdowns, leading the Vikings over that bad man, Aaron Rodgers, and the Green Bay Packers. Dalvin Cook was doing it to death. Ladies and gentlemen, we just talked about him. Y'all call him the MVP. I got to give it to the Seahawks, who won over the 49ers in a 37-27 win. I got to give it to that man, Russell Wilson, 261 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions, ladies and gentlemen. Russell Wilson was doing the damn thing last week. And this is what I call my assistant dog to my man, Russell Wilson. I got to give it to that boy who looks just like Megatron. I got to give it to DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf, 12 receptions for 161 yards. 2 touchdowns. Do you know that he averaged 13.4 yards a catch? Ladies and gentlemen, DK Metcalf, that dog. And that's my 5 top dogs for the week. Let me hear your ball.
I just want to say one thing. I want to say one thing about your list. I love your list. Me and Stack was talking about adding an asterisk with Joe Burrow because he definitely should be a top dog. But he did it. What we were saying was he did it with no offensive line, so it was even more impressive.
He lost 4. Okay, he lost 4 linemen.
Yeah, he lost 4 linemen. He was running around and he was running and gunning. I haven't seen
running for your life.
Yeah, I haven't seen a rookie play that good in years.
I'm sorry. You guys said he did it without an offensive line. Yeah. I counted 11 players on the field.
Here we go.
Yeah, but 5 of them would disappear. 5 of them disappear.
I think that's a flag if you don't have the players on the field.
Yeah.
I counted 11 every play. I'm sorry. Is my TV too high def?
It really was because some of it was
I think you're in that 5G.
Some of it was cardboard cutouts, bro. Just trying to tell you. Hey, Stack, I want to ask you a question. We'll go around. Do you think Jimmy G is going to be in the San Francisco 49ers uniform at the start of next season?
You know, I want to believe he's going to go, but I don't. I actually don't. I don't think he's going to go. I think they're going to keep him.
You think he's going to? Okay. All right, Chandler, do you think Jimmy G is going to be in a uniform at the start of the season, the beginning of next year?
I think Jimmy G will be playing for somebody's high school JV team next season. I think the jig is up. I know you like him, Stack, but I don't think he's going to be either durable or competitive enough in this league. He got a lot to prove, bro.
Yeah,
but is he going to be in the 49ers? Is he going to be on the 49ers?
But he's out of there. He's out of there. That's my answer to that. Okay. He's out of there.
Big, I'm going to throw the same question to you and say this. He's been on the 49ers 4 years now. 3 to 4 years he's been 3 to 4 seasons he's been injured. 3 to 4 seasons.
Let me just say this. I'm going to take a page out of your book, Frank. I'm going Pelican Brief. I'm seeing Jimmy G go back to New England and play for his boy up in there. That coach, man, that Hall of Famer coach up there, Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick loves Jimmy G. And the one caveat, the only thing Jimmy G got to do to get up in there is he has to sell his stock in Penthouse. That's all Belichick has. Sell your stock in Penthouse, and then you come back and play for the
Yo, Vic is on a roll today. Vic is on a roll today. Stack, where you appearing at since you in Tampa? Are you doing comedy weekend? You on some stuff this weekend? I'm sorry, Talent.
Yeah. I'm down here. The spot is called More Eventful. We're in town. We're probably gonna pop over to the Improv, depending on things, and see my man Major Hype, support him over there.
Oh, Major.
And it's my big brother's birthday, so we came down here a little deep, brought the sun down, and see what we can do. You know what it is. Find me on it, baby. That's it. That's how you find me.
Tell everybody how they can follow you, bro.
That's it. It's just comedy on Twitter, Talent the Comedian on IG, King Talent Harris Facebook. Follow your boy, man. We got it on lock.
There it is, Fig.
Listen, you can follow me on all social media platforms at Comedian Fig. I'm gonna be there on Comedian Fig. But listen, I'm going and I'm checking my flights right now. I might take a trip down to Florida to see what's going on. I know it's a hot spot, but I need to know what's going on in the comedy world, baby. I might go down there. You might find me in Florida.
There it is, Stack. Tell everybody out there how they can follow you.
Catch me at Stacking Over on Instagram or Twitter. Also, catch me booking the flight for Fig so he can get up out the house for once.
There you go. I'm Frank Holder. That's Fig. That's Talent. That's Stack. And Rodney Perry will be back Monday. He's doing a play with his segment called I Disagree. This is a show called The Box Seat. And, of course, The Box Seats is on the channel called The Humor Mill. Call your cable service provider, get them to add the channel. That would be greatly appreciated. Download the app on iOS or Android. Tell a friend to tell a friend. And until then, we'll see y'all Monday. And we'll see if there's going to be some upsets or something else to talk about. We will see y'all then. Y'all, until then, have a good weekend. We'll see y'all same bat time, same bat